Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura Watson and this is the very special 2025 Christmas video. And today I'm going to be sharing 3 tips on how to paint wintry rose hips, as well as showing you the process from start to finish of how the painting comes together. Let's get started with our 3 tips for painting a wintry rose hip. My first tip is to create color swatches right on your reference photo. This is helpful because you can see the colors right up against the color of the plant, and this is the piece of paper that I've just printed off and scribbled graphite on the back to transfer my drawing onto my watercolor paper. And instead of just discarding it, I'm now using it to test all of the colors that I've mixed up to make sure that they're as close as possible to the actual subject. I like to use the same abbreviations for each paint color name every time that I make a color study, and that way I always know which colors I'm referencing and they're really quick to write out so that I can have my color recipes handy if I need to look back on these. My second tip is to paint your background first if you're adding a background using wet into wet. And that is just so that you know that you like your background before you spend all that time painting your actual painting. And part of my tip here is to also choose a color that is going to create texture. And in this case, I wanted to create a wintry sort of snowy look without actually trying to paint snow, because it can kind of look tacky if you try and add snowflakes to your botanical drawing. So what I've done instead is try to imply the look of a wintry day using a color that granulates and separates a little. And in this case, I decided to use Solidite Genuine by Daniel Smith, which is part of the Primatech line. So it's actual ground up solidite, which is a mineral or semi-precious stone. And usually these Primatech colors really do granulate and give you more texture. If you don't have the Primatech Solidite Genuine, because it's not actually as common as a color, you could use a color like Payne's Gray to get that same tone of color, and then try dropping a little bit of salt into your paint, and that might give you the same effect. But again, I would try this before you paint your actual painting. And of course, before you start painting, make sure the background is completely dry. My third tip is to use warm and cool tones in your painting and to actually exaggerate the warmth and coolness. And my reference photo for the wild rose, I can see warm and cool colors, but I've actually exaggerated these tones with adding more purple to my cooler reds and adding permanent yellow orange to Scarlet Lake to make a really orangey red to create more contrast, which helps create shape and form. And another little quick tip I'll add on that I can show you here is that if your brush discharges too much water like mine just did, quickly dab it on a paper towel and then sop up that extra water with your brush, and you can avoid getting the blooms and your paint sort of separating out. But you want to make sure that you dab your brush on the paper towel so it's clean and damp, and then press pretty hard to lift out that color. You can see that my rosehip is drying now, but not completely dry, so I've been able to just drop in a little bit more color to create more saturation. All right, so we have talked about 3 tips that will help you paint your rosehip. Now let's dive into the process of how I paint this from start to finish. And if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to this channel. I'm over 9,000 subscribers here in December 2025, and I would love to get to 10K. So share this video with friends if you think that they would enjoy it as well. My creative process starts by going out into nature and getting inspired and collecting reference material. Rosehips are beautiful in the winter here on the west coast, and the Nootka rose is a common rose found in many areas, including meadows. The Latin name for the Nootka rose is Rosa nootcana. I like to head out to the meadow behind my house and explore all year round. It is full of beautiful conifer forests with open clearings full of mosses and many beautiful plants and wildflowers in the spring. But still, even in the winter, we can find beautiful plants to look at and make nature notes in our nature journal. Today, I am trying to do a few quick sketches while I'm out with my son, which can be quite a challenge, but I also like to inspire him to learn about nature as well. Even if I only get a few little line drawings down and a few notes or just a plant name, it still feels really worth it to take my nature journal with me, and I always feel like I've accomplished something. I love visiting the same spot each season of the year so that I can see how the ecosystem changes over the course of 12 months. One of the great things about going out in the cold in the winter is the fact that you get to come inside and get cozy again after. I like to make myself a nice warm cup of tea and snuggle in with my cat, and hopefully my son is napping so I can get a little bit of painting done. Even though summer is my favorite season, I have learned to appreciate winter now because it gives me permission to spend more time inside, slow down, and spend more time painting and creating things in my nature journal. I like to get started by cleaning my watercolor palette so that I have a fresh slate to mix nice clean colors from before starting a painting. Once I'm ready to paint, I open up my nature journal, and I always love seeing all the other paintings I've created, and it inspires me to get started on my new painting. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. I hope that you liked it. And again, if you would like that free guide, you can click the link in the video description to get that for free. Wishing you and your family a very happy holidays.